Blessings and welcome forward to Reasonings right here at the Tree of Life. I'm Jerome Butler, along with Brother Ramon Singh, and we're just bringing forward the information, the offerings of life, you know what I mean? And Brother Ramon was just saying to me, like, the topics them kind of have a little spice to them, because a lot of people don't know. Maybe we assuming, well, I was assuming that a lot of people knew, but I guess a lot of people don't know a lot about the things we're talking about. And I guess the brevity at which we speak about it would suggest that, oh, yeah, that's everyday topics, right? Everyday reasoning. For a lot of, let's use Rastafari, because we came through that pantheon. It's everyday reasoning. Because the Rastaman reason outside of the ambit of usually what the church sees as permissible, because they already have this kind of a different view of things contained in the same book, right? So we're going to talk about currently a topic that is synonymous with the flat earthers, right? So we just want to say that we're not flat earth society, and we're not conflating our spirituality with the flat earthers, because I think the spirit kind of told me the flat earthers thing is kind of political. I don't join the political ideology, because I find that it's usually somebody trying to bring people along some kind of wavelength of their own, you know, programming, of their specific programming. Not that the truth is the essence of all of it, but it's to gain something from the truth, or from exposing the truth a certain way. So that's how I look at flat earthers. No disrespect to anyone who's a flat earther, because I really don't know much, except I know how the arguments are contained in flat earth. So when we're saying the earth is flat, Brother Ramon, we're approaching it straight out from how we know this. This is something that has been the ridicule of the First Nation people in the prior age. Because I believe that from Copernicus, or the Copernican mind space came into existence, I think this whole observation of heavenly bodies as being separate from within the dome of the firmament, that they're outside in outer space, and I didn't say outer space, outer space, and that they're hung by some celestial orbiting magnetic thread or resonance, and this creates what we call the globe, and the globe philosophy are on a whirling ball in outer space. It really puts the idea of God making us for the garden, for a specific intent, a specific purpose, seems pointless. It seems that we're not made in this context of consideration, of intelligence, of design. Actually, it's just some haphazard thing. We evolved on a whirling ball in outer space. And all of our life and existence is basically on this outer ball of fury, trying to escape to a heavenly realm or to some other planet. All right, so we know the argument. The earth is flat. The people say that we're the people ridiculed, and the New World Age brought into, focus the idea of we living on a globe, and there's outer space, and not that outer space ideology never exists before, but that is it. It becomes sacrosanct, accepted, truth, no debates. What is our view on that, brother? What is your view on this presentation of we're on a ball whirling in the middle of nowhere?
Well, according to science, it is still a theory.
Thank you. So there's still no certainty, but it's a theoretic assertion of our creation, then, of our making, then, that we live on a globe, that within this globe there's primarily 4 seasons, 2 equinoxes and 2 ecliptics. What do they call those ecliptics again? The equinoxes and the solstices, right? 2 solstices. Which is to suggest that that's 4 elements subdivided, and each element has a period of time for themselves. And in this globe, people live, I guess, inside the globe. Because I say they live on the outside. Because I'm ignorant to this, you know. I really don't. Do we live on the inside of the globe, or is it that we live on the outside of the globe? I'm really serious with the brother. How does history say? Does history say we're on the outside of the globe, or we're on the inside of the globe? Because I don't know. I really don't know. You think it's on the outside, right? I think they said we're on the outside. Because how I think they said that, because they show one part of the world here, and then show people and in China, and this is no prejudice. They show people in China on the opposite side of the world. It's like you're supposed to be like, I'm supposed to be standing here, and this is my level plane, and then you're supposed to be standing on the other part of the world, like that, with my head into space this way, like that, and that's supposed to be my level plane. So I think they're saying it's on the outside. So I don't know. I guess that's why they say gravity now keeps us down, and because if we don't have gravity, obviously we escape off into space, right? We'd float off into space, right? But I always wonder, right? When they talk about cosmic rays, they always say cosmic rays come from outside of the planet. So that's one form of energy that is supposed to be external. But what I'm always curious about, I know about experiments, right? And I know, if there's this absolutely open space, right? And within this open space, it's just space and void. There's no activity. There's no intense magnetism. There's no differential in frequency, in terms of wavelengths, in terms of air pressure, wind pressure, water pressure, right? There's no indifference. There's no measure because everything is still, right? So with no activity, with no form, without manifestations upon that plane, right? Then everything will be basically just still and quiet, like empty and cold, right? Because there's no activity to animate the space. So how would this open space create the animation for the elements to become active? So now they say we have what is called an ozone layer, right? So, which is, they say, is gases, right? So they say actively there are some gases that supposedly protects us from the external world. But it's still gases, right? Still this elemental frequency. All right, so I'm getting up to my point. So my point is then, okay, so gases is what is the boundaries of this empty plane into utter space. So the elements which constitute reality, we know that they have to exist in a counterbalance. My argument is, I'm still trying to figure out where is the counterbalance, because the counterbalance has been given to us as gases that surround us. We know that there's a magnosphere, a magnetic field, but we're not going to talk about that. We're talking about what they told us. They said gas around the thing. And gas is a vacuum. While lightning can strike, while clouds can move, while waters can move. We know that's a magnetic resonance, but they tell us, oh, that is how we get the animation of the 4 seasons, the solstices, because, you know, the gases preserve and create this vacuum, because without a vacuum, believe it or not, people, none of that can happen. This is what they don't want to talk about. The operations of the elements, it has to have a vacuum. Why is a vacuum necessary? Because for the activities, for the interaction of the elements, there has to be a ceiling on it. There has to be a cap. It cannot come from the middle of nowhere. Elements have to react on each other because of the same space and the proximity. The electrical frequencies within the earth is what attracts the clouds. Within the trees, it's a magnetic resonance. Understand me? Within the dome of our existence, the fact that we are in a vacuum is why things are kept in balance. Is why it is always constantly measurable that the level plane, both on the horizontal and the vertical, can be struck at any point on Earth. On a globe reality, my question to the genius, because I'm not one, where is the center of gravity? And if the center of gravity in a globe is on the axis, right? Wouldn't it then suggest that to have the center of gravity at any point of Earth, we would have to almost stretch our compasses, our levels to the magnetic north, almost like the compass. We would have to stretch our levels to the magnetic north, because there would have to be a centralizing magnetic pole to create balance, both on the horizontal and on the vertical, right? But on a whirling disk with a dome that is fixed and established, the measure of level is at every angle, every dimension possible, both on the flat, what we call the horizontal, and the vertical. So you can always get the level, the plumb, on the horizontal, the vertical, and always get the level on the horizontal at any point you are. This is not about where the magnetic star or the magnetic pole is. You don't have to orient your compasses, orient your levels to the so-called center of the earth for you to have balance. Because it's a flat plane. It's a flat plane with a specific horizon that is also flat. The horizon isn't a curved sphere. The horizon is flat and straight. And if you are at a higher enough vantage point, you can see as far as your purview, the bandwidth, then let's say that, in your eyes allows, within the width of your rod cells, because you know some creatures have bigger bandwidth within the rod cells. Yeah. So as far, that's why when you go to the highest point, you see for miles, miles upon miles upon miles upon miles. True. And that's what I mean. And notice, it's very almost indifferent to say that you notice a curvature that would suggest that balance will continue, you know, on that curvature. Because how would balance continue on that curvature? This is where we get all these magnetic compasses and all these things like the so-called give to seafarers. But seafarers know that it's triangulation with the landmass that tells you where they are, right? And it's just a triangle. How you do it? It's like the star up, down to the land, and to where you are, right? And that's how you find your position, right? Simple as that, because it is both angular, it's both level planes. That's how you truly get it. It's not from now, because we're shifting and circulating around and around and around some kind of heavenly body that's causing that to occur. It is fixed because it is fixed. It is sure because it is sure. All you have to do is do the mathematics and you find where you are anywhere on the planet. You know, so it's just so strange, brother, but we're coming on to your view of the flat earth now. Or of the shape of earth.
Yes, I have come from the Bible, because remember the Most High created it. He is the creator.
Yes.
Of all things. So when it comes to earth, we can look to scientists and say scientists will explain how creation became.
But that's what they study. That's what they say they study, innit?
Well,
study nature, that's what
science, they say. Yeah, they must study it and research it and try to figure it out. That's why we have so much theories. They say it's a theory, this, you know, but we don't know the truth, you know?
Yeah.
So in order to get the truth, we have to go to the creator.
The source of the design.
Write with a book named the Holy Bible. You see me? So we have to look to that to find out what creation is and how it come about. Because when him say, let there be the firmament in the midst of the waters. Come remember, there's water hidden there. And let the firmament divide the waters from above, from the waters below. So I saw him divide the water now, you know, with a firmament. And a firmament is like a molten looking glass. It's like crystal. Firmament, something firm.
Yes.
Firmament coming from the word firm.
Yes.
Something firm.
Yes.
And if you check out the Hebrew Israelites, the ancient Hebrews, how them used to look at creation before science come about. Everybody knows the world is flat. and that water is above the firmament. So the blue sky, what we are see, is actually the water above the firmament. And the firmament, you can see through it. And the sun, the moon, and the stars are in the firmament.
Yes, yes,
in
yes.
the firm
Yes.
structure.
Yes.
The firmament may possibly rotate. We don't know the fullness to that part.
Yeah, because I know people
Because
who
the
say
stars are fixed
Yes, yes,
in
yes.
the firmament.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
There is an illusion that there is a time where if you look geographically, you won't see the star to your eyes purview in the same place. And I think that's where they get this so-called rotation around heavenly bodies.
Yeah.
Not that the heavenly bodies are rotating within the dome of the firmament.
But
Because just like this is the producer said to put this point.
true.
Circulation. It is saying circulation. And we're still talking about energy within a contained space. Energy and essence existed before form, right? Do you know what is form? Form is formulation. Because you created a formula and then made it, you created the formulae to its creation, to its formation. So forces react because of having the counterbalance. So energy without form is different in manifestation as to when there is form. So circulation, like the dome, right? Energy circulates your mind, energy circulates your body, because there is a fixity to your form, so that there is surety of what is the width of your blood vessels, of the capillaries, how much blood flows through the capillaries at certain points in your existence, according to the pneumatics of your breath. So the dome contains within it the form to which the life itself is encased within, because that is what creates the counterbalance. That is why, like, the form now gives the spirit in me a chance to go pop, 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 or hello, hello, hello. I can snap. The spirit already is sound, the spirit already is feeling, the spirit already is vibration, but now I have a form. So when the dome of our existence, the firmament, is made, that energy that circulates within it, right? The sun, moon, and stars, and the heavenly entities are like the thoughts and the frequencies of energy that circulate through the human mind, right? They have effect over the landmass, the creatures within the landmass, like they affect over our bodies. This is where the old astral theology comes from. That's where the old astrology comes from, right? That astrology is based around the fact that within the dome of our consciousness, right, the effect of the heavenly bodies, the sun, moon, and stars, affect the reality, the life we live, the physical plane, the earth plane, Agartha beneath, but the earth plane, it affects the earth plane, affects the human life. So I see all of that in the essence that the dome, the firmament, is symbolic also of the very creation of life. Like, without the human form, for us to have the spirit to manifest activity, right, there would not be life. So there's no way the bodies exist outside of their formulation. So they couldn't be outside. So your thoughts don't circulate effectively outside. They are within you. That's why they have effect over you, right? So that's why, to me, the same projection and all that astral theology is someone is trying to project something. It's not a natural electromagnetic attraction. That which is natural, the seasons are natural. Because whether the dome moves, but the heavenly bodies move because the thoughts.
True.
Yes, brother. So we were talking about the fact that the crack in the firmament, right? When I was first articulating it, it's like the angel, I was thinking it was like a boulder. And the angel was saying to me, no, it's like a literal plug that we, by the ushering of the Most High, remove when we are flooding the earth, when we have these disasters. And you were alluding to the floodgates of heaven, which I call in a poem the windows of heaven. You understand me? So you were giving me a forwarding thought on the Lord opening the windows of heaven.
Yeah, so the flood and the windows of heaven. You know? So the reason the sky blue, water's above, right? So if God opened the windows of the sky, then water will come down. That's why the place floods so quickly.
All right. And you know, sometimes I say there are subliminals hiding everywhere. There's a song I remember when I was first saved, right? And it's like interesting, all of the testimonies them have to come out, even if you think they're never important. One of them just have come out now. I got seriously possessed, right, by a monarch, a European monarch who have a claim over Jamaica when I was awoken, right? I got possessed. But you know how I got possessed? I just stopped smoking, right? Remember, it's the Lord said to stop smoking. Interesting, I'm saying this testimony now, because I never thought I was going to say this. It's going to give some people some strong argument. They say, see, to enough to smoke. Anyway, I stopped smoking, I think at that time, it never reached a year yet. Probably like 9.5 to 10 months. I know in me, go trigger me, but if I go smoke one spliff. And so I light this spliff, and when I light this spliff, I start smoking. I listen to, because from it is I get a walk on the Lord, all make me listen to TBC radio. So I remember on TBC radio, there was a song playing, just as I was getting possessed. I smoke and the high I feel like no I have ever felt before in my entire life. Like this is the greatest high this. And I'll never forget the song. Open the floodgates of heaven, let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven, let it rain. I say, I just got possessed and the Spirit just take me over. But I always, and you know, same time the Spirit, I'm a healer, she come right away and said, Jerome, what's happening? I said, I just start, speaking in this Portuguese tongue and I can't stop. And she says, not a tongue, it's a possession. And she's telling me that in the Spirit, And she said, go to the Bible right now. In my spirit, she told me, she said, go to the Bible right now, you start to read. She said, start reading. He said, don't stop till the tongue stop, till this Portuguese tongue stop. And I kept on reading. And then it's choro. And then the tongue stopped. But what stood out was that subliminal message, the floodgates of heaven opening up. And I left out an important point. When I was listening to the song no longer sounded like the singer who was singing the song. It sounded like my friend Ganja, who had died. He had a very deep, raspy voice, and he was always a person talking about, he was the darkest one of us, right? So he was the one who literally was in the darkness as the darkness, right? And the voice I heard was his voice. A deep, dark, demonic, raspy voice taking over the song, right? So I knew that there was a message there, that there was a possession, but there was a message long before any idea of this flat earth, firmament, cracking the firmament, and that was why the earth was flooded. That's how there could be more water to such a great volume to come in such a short space of time. Because the water, and people, I know you didn't think about this, right? So the Lord said I should say, remember the amount of water that is on the planet, right? You know that osmosis, right? That is how, and condensation, right? That is how water basically is circulated around the planet. So whether I pee it out, whether or not I pour it out into the gutter, into the drain, you know there's a process of condensation, right? And through that osmosis, that the water cycle, we studied it in geography, right? Through that water cycle, the water will go up as that in essence that goes up, the vapors, and will come down as rain, as mist. Many ways it will fall, it will return to us, but it's the same water cycle of what is here, right? That will continue. So there will be heavy rains because the water, the circulation of it brought a great portion of water from, let's say, Asia to the Americas, right? So all that water was absorbed through the clouds in Asia, we dump it in America, right? So people would suggest, okay, so that's what happened, you think, right? Okay, so the rains were just falling for 40 days or however long, or for a year or however long. Then just you think about it, it was falling all earth. that continuous volume of water could not be the water within the water cycle, the planetary water cycle. Because the planetary water cycle could not refresh itself without the other processes of the trees and the aquifers. It is an actual complete process. Just like I said, within the elements of life, within the dome, all of that counterbalancing forces is what causes the rain to come, and for the sun cycle, bear with me, to evaporate the water and then return it through condensation.
True.
So that cycle is not the cycle that happened in the alluvial flood. That's not what happened. Literally, what I've come to know is that the floodgates of heaven was literally open, and water that was not on the plane or in the water cycle of the plane came down. That's why he promised he would never destroy us with water like that again.
Yeah.
And he gave the rainbow, which is the arch, which symbolizes the dome itself.
Come on, mention that are one of the easiest way for wipe out creation. Like, because the water there above it, it's so easy for just say, alright, I'm gonna just flood the whole of this, kill off the whole of this, you know? It's so easy. That are the easiest option in terms of if you want to wipe out. You know? The easiest option.
The entire populace of the planet.
Yeah. So much water above us, above the firmament, and just open up the windows of heaven. Easy way of destroying, you know? That's why I'm saying, alright, I'm not do that again, and put the rainbow inside. I'm not do that again.
And then, if you notice a rainbow, I used to be so fascinated by people talking about rainbows all along. I never broke it down. Did you know there's no rainbow without water vapors and water molecules? You know, people don't know that? People tell us it's just a refraction of light, and it's not. It has 12 moisture in it. Without the water, the rainbow isn't a rainbow. So those they can go debate this one. Yeah. If you notice when, like a little rain, people see the way the air is made up, right? And people say, okay, I projected and, you know, something, you have a little CD, right? And the CD give you a little laser in print. And you can have the light refract off the CD, and you see like a certain aura, right? And some people will think that, okay, that is almost like a symbol of the rainbow. But remember, you know, the rainbow have all the primary colors and have them in a specific sequence. So it's not just the refraction of light that's creating that. There is water vapor in the atmosphere. Why the lights reflect in the specific sequence it refracts in. So rainbows are synonymous not with light, but with water. Because I wondered why it was that they said the rainbow would be the symbol Yah gave to say, I would not flood you anymore. Because the rainbow contains the water vapors. It contains them. It is part of the reflection in the light.
True.
You understand me?
Yeah. You know, one time I washed the car and I sprayed the hose. And how if you spray it at a specific angle, you will see like a rainbow come and create for true.
Yes.
So the water make the rainbow for true.
Yes.
True.
You know, that is why it was a sign that he would not flood us by removing that seed he has in the crack in the firmament. But the crack has been recognized to prehistoric cultures, you know, not just to the recorded culture, to pre-recorded cultures. You understand me? To how they design. I asked once, said to my ex, you know, there was a conversation we had one day, and I said to her, this is far outside the regular reasoning, so this I can give a little bit, not much, you know. I said to her, they want to say, why is that the 5-point star so important? And I said, did you know that there was a symbol that appears like the 5-point star that ancient people would draw in a circle, and they would say it in the center of the circle? And I said to her, for years it puzzled me, until the Lord showed me a 3-dimensional image of it one day. And I said, you know, if you really extend a crack in a dome, how a dome crack at the absolute top, or the refractions of energy, the reverberations of energy, it's actually 5 points. Thunder. So a lot of times when I see this 5-point star, if you put it on a 3-dimensional, a circle at the center, and you see the 3-dimensional, it's a crack. in a dome. It's a crack in a dome. Turn your bowl upside and crack that sucker. The reverberations of the impact gives you 5 points. If you pull the crack apart, it appears like a star pattern.
True.
Like a 5-point star pattern.
Oh. True.
Ancient cultures used to draw this, you know. This, but it didn't look like a star. But it looks more like a star, more like a starfish, this spirit say more like a star. But it looks more like a star because of all these philosophies, this astrotheology and astrology and all their things and astronomy. No, it looks like a star, but it didn't always look like a star. It looked like a crack with 5 points.
True.
You know, so it's like a lot of it is still about that crack in the firmament that flooded the earth and changed the reality as we know it and create what we now know. That the blood rituals, the animal eating, the sacrifices, the splicing of the genes, all of those aberrant behaviors that led to the kind of fracturing of the earth plane, distorting of the reality to the absolute, negation of the source itself. That was reset. And what we suffer from is what we call the aftermath, the after effects. Because what happened is that we come learn that not all the Nephilims had died out, right? That some lived. We also learned that just like how we have ancestral worship and ritualistic worship, these smart fallen entities maintain ancestral ritualistic worship. That is why when you said, call them by a name because the spirits have a name, that is how they are conjuring them, because they know them. It's like keeping a shrine for your highly venerated in their darkness. So they really do worship the spirit of their ancestors and invoke their strength to subdue, the children of the garden to this very day. To this very day. And the ignorance taught about the utter space, I know it's them. Because the only time I had any kind of projection, I've seen myself outside the dome in some alternate utter space reality, because I know what I'm talking about, because you don't know and believe in an alien like me. So I never do no video upon no alien too much. You don't know and you don't believe in an alien like me. But anyway, my only projection, I saw myself in an alien ship. You understand me? Outside. And how I come to understand after that it was the fallen projection, I realized that the fallen always gave man the notion there was somewhere else you can go outside of your home. But through Malone said dome, the same dome, and domicile means where you live. It also means your domain. So when people talk about your domain name or your this name, I said to myself, it clicked in me to say, oh my God. When people hear me talking about this is our home, they're like, what is this guy talking about? He must love to chat. I do love to chat with sense. This is our home. I begin to realize that any thought of you coming of somewhere else is an illusion. It must be from someone else. Do you understand? A thought of somewhere else must come from someone else.
True.
Oh, me not come from there, sir. So me have a thought from a outer space. When this is the dome. This is the domicile. This is my domain. This is where I'm domiciled. This is where I live. This is home.
Because even from the dawn of time, all of creation know that the earth flat. All of creation know say God live above us.
Zero.
You see me? That's why even the Tower of Babel, they might try build a tower for reach
to God.
up to God.
Yes. Yes.
You see me?
Not just
because
not stargazers.
Exactly. Because what they want to go into space? No, because them know say it's literally God above the firmament.
Yes.
And they might try to reach it. You see me? Because even nowadays now, the US government, they have an operation named Operation Fishbowl. You see me? And in this operation, anybody can research it, you know. Operation Fishbowl.
I hear him.
So they must say, we live in our fishbowl.
Listen,
so in this operation,
we're breathing the powdered water.
so in this operation,
yes.
them send up some missile up to the firmament. They must see how far the firmament be
from
them
from here.
calculate distance.
Yes.
Them calculate if it can penetrate. So many missiles go up there and just explode.
Spirits are
Leap on the firmament.
The spirits are impenetrable.
Yeah, it can't penetrate. They can't penetrate the firmament. Because imagine how much water that a hold up.
Flood of her life.
You know?
So that's,
and the pressure and
Yes.
compression, and it's strong enough to hold that. Nothing can penetrate that.
yes,
You see me?
yes. I can, you know, you just bring me to it's like the spirit definitely want me to drop a few lines at the poem. So I said, first time is always the scariest time for us to shine outside these blocking vortex. But these can't stop we. I'm no extraterrestrial, though they say the alien is my gene, but I am alien to these grotesque scenes. I am aliens to the fiend. You understand me? I'm gonna shoot this arrow straight from my heart to the demons and the dragons who bites at our souls. Dragons in the blood, dragons in the blood. Machines will take your life. And you kiss the windows in the open skies and you don't even realize there's a tempest about to come and the world is oh so numb. Dragons in the blood, machines will take your lives. And you kiss the windows in the open skies, you don't even realize there's a tempest about to come and the world is oh so numb. These things I speak in prophecy, hologramic projections and all sorts of strange injection. The astral vortex open up, the people are lost. This cosmic epiphany has become this material high because they lost their souls, they lost their minds. Of Yahuwah is the light, because I needs no light to be no bearer. I ain't no keeper of no ancient flock, because the words I speak are intact. Dragons in the blood, machines will take your lives. And you kiss the windows in the open skies, you don't even realize there's a tempest about to come and the world is oh so numb. Yeah, man.
True.
The Lord.
It's a kiss the windows
In the open skies.
True.
Yeah. And it's the Lord give me that song there because I two songs the Lord give me when I ask him from poetry to music. I say I want a song to sing because them say me write strong stuff, but why can't I sing something? And him give me that sorrow and him give me that song there.
True.
You understand me? And it, like I said, I didn't even realize, right, the correlations with how that cataclysm, the antediluvian flood, basically was so symbolic to how the earth got to be where it is. And you said in a previous video, that just resonated with my spirit. We live on top of these mountains because of how the debris of all that the water had covered. Because they realized that even on Mount Everest there's seashells. So that means that the ocean would have had to have covered it at some point. So now we realize that here we are now on what we call islands, right? That we know that the islands come from the deep. That's what the word said. So, and the word says we need to say this clearly. There's a thing called islands. And the word said the islands come from the deep. But yet some people feel like some islands are the smallest land masses. And as you bring clarity to bring back the word of God in my mind, Ramon, because you said we're living on mountain tops and the word tells me so the islands are the deep. So the islands are the tip of these mountains. So these eternal mountains. And it's only the islands, so the oldest land masses, right? A lot of them is just an island remain, literally, because the debris has covered from the floor of that. So we really literally are living. Yes, brother, so I was saying that when I found out, like, you know, the debris on a flat plane, like if you literally in a flat space like this, right? You pile up some debris right here, right now, and let's just say the highest point, and I'm going to say it because we need to show people practically, is this tree right here, right? This is the highest point in this space, right? So we live right here currently now, and then some cataclysm and some stuff come and it throws some debris at us, right? So we go level up, right? So all of a sudden now, we are missing like 10 feet of the tree. Right, so we got a little further up now because more debris come and pile up. So now all of a sudden we're missing another 10 feet. So maybe we got 20, 25, 30 feet of the tree that's beneath the unseen. It not means it doesn't mean it's not there. It just means that you're not seeing it. And then we live and we got a final 15 feet above us and we say, look at this ancient 15-foot tree. Ah, it's a beautiful tree. Ah, look at this island. But on the flat plane, All that's happened is that that landmass has been overcome by the debris of the flood, and all that's remaining is the highest point that was not overcome, or the waters receded. Yes, because the word said the waters receded. So the waters receded off the high point, right? Creating these oceans, right? That surround these so-called islands, right? But had that water that came from above, if it's drained out of our reality currently, you will see that the layers of life go several fathoms down. And I think, as I said, Nabi should tell us about that in terms of the worlds that are beneath the current one, that he would say to us that we think we live in the only world, or in the first world. And so when they say third world, that be something that we say, when they say third world, he said they mean the third world.
There's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, so this is the third time the world is happening. That's what Nabi means, just for those who don't understand.
Mention again, that's why so much city under the sea.
Yes, yes.
Every day they will discover a new city under the sea. For sure, say, oh, and everything drained off, you know?
Exactly. Where would it go? Into outer space? Come on.
I come back to the flat earth now.
Yes.
When we pour water out, water go down and go down and go down until level out and settle and flatten out. So the more we pour the water, and the more it always remain flat and it get higher and higher, and but remain flat. So all of the oceans in the earth.
It takes the shape of its container.
Yeah. So if you have a cup and you pour the water in it, it will go up and up and up. That's why all of the seas, it level with the islands. That's why even with little beach, Hellshire Beach, the beach gone. The beach gone, I just the building them left because the sea come up.
Yes, yes.
Some water come up, so it come up on every level.
Yes, yes.
If you check it out, everywhere around the world, the sea come up little.
Yes. So it's
and
equal.
We lose a couple of our beach then.
Yeah, I mean, even like the Solomon Islands and people who are in the Pacific, that part of the world, right? They talk about rising sea water level, right? So the fact that the water level, because part of the people say some of the water from the flood is in the polar caps, right? That's where they say a lot of the water is frozen. And as they say, as the planet is warmed and the water begins to melt and become liquid again, the people who are trying to tell you that we live in a bowl are trying to tell you about some weird evaporation scheme in a gas space, but we know that we're in a container. And because we're in a container, because the forces and the reaction there have proved we're in a container. Because it's the only way you can get counterbalancing forces. There has to be a form. It has to be something to resist, to create the traction, the tension, and the interactions between. Understand me? Because if there's no relationship, then it wouldn't be possible. You understand me? So it's the interaction. Notice, it's always opposing forces is life. You understand me? So a lot of that water is still here. It isn't gone anywhere. It's just transformed in its form. It's gone into a different form. So you have the gaseous form in the vapors, right, in the sky. That's the rainbow, right? That's gaseous, but it's water. So as I'm saying to you, people don't want to talk about it because they taught us, but they don't want to talk about it. It's vapors, right? So it's water vapors in the same powdered water, right?
True.
And then the same thing is now that is gas, but it's water. And that's what we're breathing. So look into your oxygen, right? And the molecules of hydrogen, right? And oxygen. Hydrogen, H2O, it's two molecules more than what's in the oxygen. Do you understand? Water is just 2 hydrogen more than what's in oxygen. You understand what I say? Right? H2O, water, right? It's 2 hydrogen more than oxygen, right?
True.
So literally, it is powdered water. We are breathing in the vapors. That's powdered water. You understand me? So the issue is that that's gas, right? Right? That's water as gas, sorry. And then there's water as ice.
True.
Right? So the melting ice now, that's the water coming back from ice, is flooding the oceans now. And then because of a level plane, as you explained, the water level are rising equally. So obviously those islands that are lower because the mountains they were lower mountains than the highest points on earth. They are now being covered. So in a few generations, people will say that's only ocean. Do you get us now what we're saying? Because it's very clear now to us, because the ultimate truth of it is, brother, in the entire earth, we see that this equal rise in sea level is going to turn some places just like, oh, you're looking now and talking about that's just a body of water. We know that was a landmass. Flat, as far as the eye could see. Mountains contained therein. That's why they say so the deepest mountains are in the sea. You understand me? The islands of the deep. They are the mountains that rise up from the base of the earth.
Even the Bible, Revelation, there shall be no more sea. The whole verse. There shall be a new earth, a new heaven,
yes,
and there shall be no more sea. That for sure, I said God never wanted the sea.
Yeah, the sea is a definite...
To cover up Him creation,
yes,
because it's like earth are like Him beautiful creation, you know, so. And if we say just water was there in the first place, and Him bring up land out of the water, you know, but Him cover the most of that right now with the flood.
Yes, yes. I mean, literally.
So that's why there shall be no more sea.
Yes, because naturally, they have old teachers who still teach that water wasn't on the planet in the way that we know it before. Yeah. Right? And it's a flood, because what some people said was like, the word said, the fountains of the deep. So when the lands came out of the fountains of the deep, the waters literally went down beneath the pillars of the foundations of the earth, right? So it was said that many civilizations never saw water. That when the landmass cracked on the flood, that's when water began to come up from beneath their feet as the water poured down and water came up.
Because the Bible said there was no rain, only a mist came
upon the earth, yes.
That for sure you said the amount of water what is there on earth that couldn't make rain.
But that's what I say. That's what I say. Where the whole heap of water come from?
Yeah.
Because we know precipitation, everything now. We could not, from what was originally in the water cycle, create the flood. I mean, you're going to have some people say, oh my God, I'm going to check this out. Please do. But it could not. Based upon the water cycle that we had on the earth, what the book of Enoch teaches us about the mist and how the trees and the life were watered in the mist. Again, it's water vapors. It's gas, as how we're taught it, right? We call it the powdered water. Well, I call it the powdered water. And some so-called snobby intellect call it the powdered water, right? So we know it's still water that we're breathing. And the baby inside the womb is in salted water, just like the oceans, right?
True.
So the essence of it is that, this water had to come from somewhere. And the word told us that the water from above the firmament was separated from the waters beneath the firmament.
True.
So we know that the water where is in those polar caps that is causing this ocean rise was the water that came down from the heavens.
True.
And it's still here with us. Still here. Because when it melts, all the people tell about it to equalize and it now going to rise. I don't know what they're telling you. I don't know where they get that argument from. Because as the caps are melting, the islands that are lower than where the current, what now we call the third world is right now, they're going under. Because if you notice, they're not in Europe, they're not in the Americas, and they're not in Africa. So you would say, why are these? If you follow the ancient, like we're talking about indigenous people now, so for Christians, you'd have to go check through the Bible a little bit more, but I know the ancient people talk about this. They talk about the prophecy of the end of reality, right? The land masses that they talked about as that would exist at the end of reality, and I'm telling you, Ramon, these things are upon some ancient walls and so, they're like America, Africa, and Europe. Those land masses were carved already, thousands and thousands of years, that this was the end of reality. That when the reality is about to end, this is how the earth is going to hunger, is going to look. Right? The last days. So these were in the prophecies from the early days. Right? So it is not strange to now understand that the reason why these nations remain is because they were the highest point of a certain type of land at the top of the mountains. Because the old were literally lower points that is now being covered over that we now say is Pacific or is Atlantic or is this ocean. But it's literally Atlantic. There was a landmass there.
Yeah.
And it's only Nabi teaches this, nobody teaches us this, they don't tell us that. It's like, oh, this is the Atlantic Ocean. Why is it the Atlantic Ocean? Where is Atlantis in the Atlantic? Why name Atlantis?
God sink that one.
All right. So we know a lot of that place we call the ocean. And you're not going to hear this everywhere. So this is true life. So, I don't want to say blessings to Sister Rosemary. You said today something, and I must say that the Lord, I agree to, so I will. The Lord says to tell the people, you cannot drink the new wine in old wineskins. You cannot store the new wine in old wineskins. The lack of knowledge is causing the people to perish. We have to come out of it. That's why we're reasoning about these things. Losing knowledge of the plane we're on is losing knowledge of yourself, losing knowledge of your awareness. You do not know what is this reality. You do not know who you are, what you are, how you are, what is anything, how is anything, why is anything. So we must realize these things are important, right? These things are important to know because the Word has placed it through history, through time, through prehistory to show us, right? So those old worlds are going under because they are covered over by the rising sea level. Because of the water, of the times, or we as humans are acting, almost bringing on back the same state, like in the beginning, so shall it be. The same state that caused the flood in the first place. Through the way we are dealing with the ozone, the way we are dealing with nature, the toxified existence we are living, is literally causing the planet to hurl. They're creating the reason why there will be going to be a new heaven and a new earth. Because literally this one will become untenable because as the water, remember all of the earth was covered, So as this water keeps rising, more and more nations are going to go under. And some of you might think your continent is safe. Wait until a couple more of these caps begin to melt. And you get to realize that this global philosophy is just an illusion and the earth is a flat plane. So the rising sea level in Antarctica, you want to know why they're all in Antarctica? Go figure out, right? That rising sea level is going to take the closest nation. So you might think it's the African nations. It's actually the European nation is the next one. They are lower on the mountain scale of the earth. Meru, they're lower than Meru. So they're lower than Africa. All of them. You understand me? They are lower. So that means that the next place that's going to go in the next cataclysm is going to be Europe. Yeah, Europe and the Americas are lower down because other people don't know that Europe is just an ice boundary between Europe, Russia, and America. You understand me? Through Alaska. It's still a lower part. So it is still closest, right, to the Antarctic sheet. It's still closest to the water, so it's the closest mountain on which people live that is still close to all that water that is in icy form.
Sure.
So when that begins to melt, it will increase their sea levels. It's not even a question. America itself, the postulations of the future showed that nation almost maybe 75% covered by water.
When you mention Antarctica, I remember the next operation what America do. Operation High Jump.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one in some vague ways.
So
through
they
some
might
stuff.
try get over the wall in Antarctica. Antarctica.
The ice wall.
That's why, if you mention that nobody can go Antarctica, it is restricted.
Yes, all the
You see me?
nations up
The
there.
United Nations signed treaty saying nobody is not allowed to go past a certain point in Antarctica.
Yes, because remember before on a different reason we would talk about the so-called isolated lands as to why we can't go there. But anyway, that's another reason. But yes, but that is absolutely a case that they have definitely signed something because I remember they said it was 56 was the high jump. I think I did some research back on that too, so I heard they said it was like 56 but the spirit of me said before 56 there were some people that talk about the crack Jules Verne, inner earth and some little thing. I'm not saying them by the perfect titles that they're actually in their actual titles, but I know Jules Verne did Journey to Inner Earth or whatever. You can put the titles, yeah. So remember, there's two things we should remember. There are political ideologies around certain things that we're saying. That's why I was kind of disclaimer about the flat earth. But Ramon, there's also other earth as well too, you know.
Yeah, man.
Which relates back to a lot of that same kind of thing about the actual form and shape of earth. So that there is literally some things about that intertwined, you know, with all of this as well too. But because they're political, the Bible and truth examines them far different from our political mind. So, yeah, there are lots of secrets which we don't exactly know. Because again, a lot of those inner earth, what we come to know, because we're getting clear on the information, is that my teacher taught me some things, Nabi taught us some things, the rest we figured out ourselves. That the reason why these inner earth things is coming up is that because the world's on top of the world, so because all that olden civilization, because the first world is so much, it said it is within desert, sand, and snow, so it is so far beneath, right, what we call the current world. So when you have these deep exploration that they don't tell us about, that go hundreds of miles into the earth, that is other earth. That's what other earth is all about. That there have been groups of people who have been said to have been leaving the upper surface from as early as maybe the 12th and the 13th century, disappearing completely into cracks. Some are saying it's a Garther, but what it is in actuality, which we know, it's no joke, is that the debris from the flood, all of those mountains that crumbled under all those cities, they're actually epochs and caverns, labyrinths that are intact. Entire cities, nation, space that can be for an entire nation is intact in the earth, right? But they're saying it's in the earth, but we know it is because it's on the earth, but it's in the earth. Because basically it's just the debris of life that has made this inner earth that they're talking about. It didn't really exist as a creation. It was made, and what we now know is that the high lodges and the high organization, they are the ones who have preserved the passages to these places. Yeah. And hence these now, when this information is released, you have people talk about this other earth, and we've got this other civilization, to almost suggest a non-human civilization. But we're not talking about the devil and the 33 parallel here now. Right? We're talking about the fact that, literally, some people say, all we know Jamaica is 144 square miles by 95. And there are some people tell us, say, Cayman Islands is still Jamaica, because it's the same flood that sink. And that's what I mean, the water will come up, bring the land. It was still one landmass. So we have so much atolls that was a part of this landmass, that we have the same stamp of what they call Atlantis, of the landmass going down. But remember, the same theory of Atlantis, as what they say, it's still the ocean coming to claim the land. The same rise in water level, which they don't want to say it was a cataclysm that caused Atlantis to fall. But at the same time, when you think about it, Atlantis, the theories of Atlantis was there was a great cataclysm that occurred that caused the land to go under.
Yeah, because when the land evil, the earth will take it because it's just too dirty. So the earth will take it and cleanse it, you know? Same with Port Royal, same with Sodom and Gomorrah, and the Most High are in action. Anyway, the nation unclean, and there's no righteous there. Because the Most High, we save like it dead. Because of the righteous.
It is like it's dead. It would be like literally it's dead.
So
we come to know what that means, right?
Yeah. So the Most High in a ramp to kill them people them and take away the land because him don't want that to continue.
I would say they have already killed themselves by the virtue that they have become living dead. And people might say that's a philosophy. Yeah, so, you know, the Most High was saying to me, like, when those civilizations, those so-called civilizations, those nations, those landmass fall, the vibrations don't match anymore with the living cosmos, with the living space. He was saying to me, it is like unto death. Death is the essence where it doesn't have life anymore, so it cannot. So no matter how much you love your wife, your best friend, your cousin, your children, when they are dead, they no longer, whether they want to or not, live with us in the physical realms. People might say, oh, their spirit remains, the thought of them remains, the culture, the history remains in ideation, but they're no longer with us. They're dead. So the Lord is saying those civilizations, those cultures, those nations, those landmass died vibrationally, they fell. Like a tree He brought me to say the tree. Like a tree, you say, oh, what a mighty tree, but it died, right? And you see the branches going out, and then all of a sudden it dried up, no more leaves, no more branches. The Lord is saying to me, Jerome, after a while, what do you think is going to happen? You think that tree is going to stand up? Living trees stand up and grow and expand. Dead trees are going to fall. So no matter how mighty it is and how great it was rooted, eventually it's going to topple over. Because dead things, they fall, right? They die.
And it good only for wood fire.
Yeah.
Well, I mentioned the parts, planets.
Yes.
There's no part in the Bible that mention anything about planet.
That's so true.
So God never created any planet.
Exactly.
He created stars,
yes.
sun and moon.
Heavenly bodies, so we call them, yes.
A man create planet. A man with them theory.
I think
and, well,
the
come we talk
alien,
about this theory
the
thing, you know.
fallen angel,
come
them.
on and say the Big Bang theory.
Yeah, the fallen angel, them,
You see me?
and them theoretics of existence. That's where we get these things from, you know.
Yeah.
Even them
top scientists, man.
Yeah, the Copernican theory of rotating bodies around a central, entity, which is the sun. That's where we get this whole heavenly bodies. And you look up and them tell us that the sun and move, and tell the earth and move around the sun. But when you look at it geographically, you don't feel any movement in the earth, but you can see that the sun was really moving. So you see that the heavenly bodies do move. And that is why they see them at different positions, but they don't want to tell us that the heavenly bodies.
Point at the North Star. Like if you leave a camera pointed at the North Star, you see that everything is spinning around the North Star.
Yes.
Showing that all the stars are spinning around us and not we spinning around the sun.
Yeah, because it's a magnosphere. I would say, in the language what the Spirit taught me, I can't always speak it in the overworld language for them to understand, but there's some who will understand. It's a magnosphere. It's the energy field that keeps the whole electromagnetic frequency of this plane. It's like, all right, say for instance, I build something. Now go back to the energy where permeates the dome again. I build something, right? And remember, everything was just near still. I'm going to put something right as well. There's empty space. I'm going to put something here, right? What is happening inside of what I designed is based upon how I designed it. You understand me? So all of these heavenly bodies and these things, it's like an automaton. You set them into motion. So life operates, and all of it is the operation of life. Right? Somebody came and tell you, say, from outside of it. So that's why I keep saying people understand when I reason, is that we have knowledge that we get from inside, from our existence, what God taught us, but we take knowledge from somebody who come outside. Somebody came from outside and said to us, by the way, this means that.
And them not believe in a God.
Yes. Oh yeah, by the way, them not believe in a God, but them know all these things are supposed to exist outside. But we who are inside here now is observing that these things are moving in alignment with us. So the magnosphere, the electromagnetic energy, the frequency that permeates life and existence. It's like that's what drives the pneumatic system. You breathe in your ear and you mix it with the blood and it comes together and so you live, right? That frequency, you understand me? That causes the water, the oceans to run, the rivers to run north to south, right? Everything along that magnetic, that's the energy of how you fix the thing. You made it a certain way, you made a gyro, you animated it and you set it into motion. Now when you set it into motion, its operation is based upon what you've designed. That's all that's happening with us here. The sun and moon and stars and everything rotating around that magnetic sphere is basically how things are aligned on the planet. It's how you get order. It's why the trees grow and don't disorient each other. You understand? No matter how much come in the same place. But we the human don't have that natural thing because we have philosophies that separates. Everything know that it's everything else. Is we don't seem to know that we're everything else. And everything else don't have an opinion of everything else. No, this is only humans. Give us the dog and the pussy examine himself too much. The domesticated cats behave different from the non-domesticated. And so there's no interest for differentials. As humans tell us that the cat care what the dog is about and the dog care what, because the humans care about what the cat is about and care about what the next human is about. But life is harmonious. All of we have fulfilled the function. We're set in our way. The heavenly bodies, they move. Their movement affects everything elementally and vibrational. The same thing magnetically. It's similar. The same thing. See there? And that is because God made it so, right? That the forces that when I no longer can draw on the breath anymore, which is called the pneumatics, me dead. The process done, right? It done because no more moon and star for me. It done. You understand me? The elements that come from the earth, gone on earth. The things will come from the water, gone on water. You understand what I say? The things will come from the fire, gone on the fire. And the Spirit of the Most High, that is the eternal, return to Him. Just like that. This is the life we are on this thing here. Now when people keep talking about somebody outside of our home, the fallen who were cast out of their home, right? Coming into our home, and I come tell you about our home based upon their knowledge of the outside, is where problems come in. Because this is where I always say to people, say, all who are talking about outer space, you better go out there and come back and come tell me. And you know, better tell me about now, 63, man landing pan the moon, you know who you are talk to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, God does research. The moon landing is fake.
Bro, man land on moon.
You know?
Son,
I just research. Know for yourself. You see me?
I wonder why the
Because
people them so confused.
Yeah. Them not research. Them want somebody research for them and tell them.
Yeah, it's
them want the
convenience.
scientists do the research.
Convenience.
And the scientists come and say, I have a theory.
Yes.
It could be that we come from monkeys, you know.
Yes. But these monkeys are special kind of intelligent monkeys. We will call them the Australopithecus monkeys and the Australopithecine monkeys, right?
True.
And then the Neanderthal, and then we've got to do what we call the sapien, right? And Cro-Magna with the sapien. Very sentient beings, right?
True.
Natural selection.
So we more if we believe in all these scientists with him theory. Him just have a theory, you know. He must say it could have got so.
Yes.
And that the theory mean. It could have got so.
Yeah.
But me not sure.
Yeah.
So it's a theory.
Yeah, but you can't believe it if you want.
Yeah, and
Can write 10 books on it.
man,
I wrote 15
it's
books.
It's sad, sir. Most of the first world country them believe in this theory. Just a theory. What one man come up with in their mind. And at that, them a live them life by a theory. It could be so.
It could be so.
Supposedly, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a theory.
But I think it could be. It's a
could be.
possibility.
Yeah.
It could be.
So we are live with life and I say, oh, we are coming from the Big Bang. You know, we are just molecules and
Possibly we're just here to
We have no
excite
purpose.
our phallics.
Yeah, and now them will look and I find new planet every day. And them will find planet where we can live on.
There is a
because
planet.
They mash up Earth, so
Yes,
we need a new planet now.
Because in the Kepler B constellation, I kind of noticed by a flickering of the negation of light that there's actually the possibility of stations in such a planet. So, in such a constellation, the Vega is probably 4,000 planets. Really? 4,000, you say?
John, it's sad though, it's sad. So much people are believing a theory. You see me? The same evolution theory.
Yes, absolutely.
They must say lightning strike one pool. But where the pool come from? Where the lightning and
where
the
lightning
pool
come from? Who
Where the
decided?
lightning come from?
Yeah, the lightning was of
But
itself.
lightning strike a pool somehow.
Yes.
With some bacteria sitting there in the water.
Yeah, where bacteria come from. Yeah, but it come there. It reach there and lightning strike it and behold, we have an evolution of a worm, and from that worm we have, evolution into some kind of amphibious.
True.
And, from then you got some kind of, bipedal. And you can continue. I mean, when I was studying anthropology at age 13 coming up, I mean, I was already crazy to everyone else. So it was just to me like just going into the cake soup and just swimming around and enjoying the lunacies because the solar madness, whichever one, because to me, that was what reality really was. And how I saw these scientists tell me about things, I wonder why I always wanted to know. Because there's so much theories that you wonder, say, oh, we're real, but you come tell me about theory. But we're real. And so...
And the Bible will tell with facts. They say, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth.
Yes.
So we don't have to wonder where we come from.
Yeah, but
and God created it.
But man can reason that about it in one book. Oh, yes, not one book and you believe it, but you believe in a textbook though.
Yeah, you believe in the scientists.
Yeah.
This man who them don't know.
Yeah.
And I say it could be so supposedly.
You think
I don't know.
You think it's a white coat? We're gonna start with your white coat. So what you say? We're gonna start with our white coat. Cause you think it's a white coat? I think
test glasses.
And test glasses. Because I think it's probably the white coat. Because the scientists have it, the doctors have it. Those people that literally, cut your bodies, go into your bodies, do all those things to alter something they didn't design, they didn't create. But then they say, well, we've been studying it for that long. But then we know that it's theory you're studying. So are you studying the human body? Are you studying a theory? I keep telling people this, and they say to me, what is this guy talking about? I said, listen, man. Christ told us about the reality, right? There's a reality, there's an actuality, right? And then there's belief. And then there's societies and civilization built on the belief, not on the actuality. So then I'm going to tell us, oh, and the human, the neurons, and this, and it fires in a particular sequence. And really, in that sequence. And you know that for a fact, it fires in that sequence. And what is the end result? Some aberration, right? I always end up with some aberration.
We reason with atheists already here. And atheists I say, the Bible is only 6,000 years old. That's new. You know? And they must say Egypt is there for over 10,000 years. I have knowledge for over,
Yes.
There's evidence of life millions of years.
Yes.
And your religion is only 6,000 years old.
Yes, which is what people say all the time about the religion. But we're not talking about the reality, no. They matter about the religion, which is an event within the reality. But that's another thing, because some people like them have a sense like, oh, so you got this from someone that actually lived. So it means that the word of God to come to humans who do it, reading in books, would have to somehow be in books too, wouldn't it? There would have to be a book, a compendium of such information, of such theory. So what are you talking about, my God, people? What are you talking about? Why is it not the word of God? Because it's in a book. God, I don't get it. Yeah. Why is it not the word of God?
You think the creator could actually write a book?
Write a book, oh my God.
The creator, you see me? Who made earth and the sea and all creatures.
Leave a book. Oh my God, why would he leave a book? Because humans don't read books. Humans don't know what knowledge are. Humans don't know what language is, linguistic is, what information is. We don't use those things, so a book isn't necessary. As a matter of fact, it's not even real. That means that every history book you've read is not real, right? It means that every textbook you've read about some theory about operating a machine to make gas that is so toxic, if you smell it, it will kill you. But they put it in a refrigerator. They put it in these ovens, these machines, and they call them microwave, and they call them space age technology. But that's real. That's real, right? And that's in a book. But it's real. And it's a bunch of words, right? But it's real, right? But that book, Bible, God, it can't be real.
I remember I said the devil, the best liar in the world.
Oh my God. Sorrow. Oh my God.
Him are the skillest upon deceiving.
And it's Mr. the best scammer.
True.
The real original scammer. So how the authentic could have scam. I devil out the father. I'm a real scammer.
Remember I said they must spend millions and I collect millions of tax money from the American people.
Yeah.
For NASA, in which space not exists. Them now send no rocket ship to space.
Oh my God.
They might take the people and money scamming.
But listen, you're one of the first man, the biggest co-founder in NASA. Them same lever. I saw him a message for him grave, which referred to a Bible passage that talk about the firmament showed his underworld.
True. Yeah. So them know so the earth flat.
And I know that again, because remember, secret orders exist in the Ramon. So remember say, what they tell the mass amount of people is not what people in the secret orders know. That is why they have this power to exercise this kind of will over others, because they have more knowledge, more energy, right? More abilities, because the limited purview of a bandwidth of a human frequency, that's probably 6 amperes. How far can that really go? A few hertz, right? But what about when you're in tune, really vibrating the right way? What nonsense. these people's perception and postulations.
Because even the logo, a UN logo, is a picture of
Flat Earth. Yeah, that is one that I picked up going through some of the Flat Earth people them thing. But I mean, it was a subliminal message from me. I just couldn't understand what it was. That logo always come to me. I just didn't know what it was about it. So then when I saw some Flat Earth people really referring to it and said, look at it, it's right there. I was like, something about this was always talking to me, but I couldn't put it in any kind of sense until they gave me a glimpse of, that. And I was like, oh, so I can see that subliminal messages tell those who are the so-called awakened Ramon within their organization or their organized reality that this is what is, but this is how we mask it. Like you and I are the avid seekers, just, there's some italics on our page, and then they know that it's some serious information.
They have the truth right in front of our face, and I plant it.
Mark us with it, literally.
And with that I believe the lie. Sluck.
Yeah, and then I think this is why God always said this, the foolishness of God is still smarter than the wisdom of man. The foolishness of God is still smarter than the wisdom of man.
True.
So I don't care how it looks, When people like us, and I say it to this day, we get the information directly from the source, and I know that's where the jealousy and the warfare comes in, sort of, because these people are selling their souls for information to move nothing but, simple thoughts to nowhere in particular. And yet still the Lord has brought thoughts to us from the source of thoughts itself, which is Himself. And look at that. How a soul can be calm with the truth, knowing, versus wanting to be filled with somebody else's altered reality. I mean, I have to say this too. You have people out there who say, people just want to talk because they just want a platform. And I get that, yeah. People just want to talk because they want a platform. And I do have no problem if somebody want to push us or put us in that viewpoint because we're not out of people's opinions. But what I want to say is that for you who just like to slide some sly remarks into things, no wonder why we're in these situations, because every time, and I'm talking about us, I'm talking every time and every generation people come up to show clarity, these, they always come up with these things about you're just doing it for that. And but listen, anybody got truth. This is a scheme designed to break you down. Some people going to tell her, that guy smokes so much ganja. They're on some trip there. They're trying to run some scheme, some this, some that. And always these things. And then you hear 50 years later, it was revealed that so-and-so was onto the truth. Because it turned out that's what the research proved, that's what the evidence proved, that this is in fact. And then it's like 50 years later, when all of the interesting persons and the people of whom it was an interest to treat you a certain way, is probably dead. Maybe you ain't dead, but they're dead. So it don't matter that clarity has come. But be that as it may, I want to give thanks to all of the brethren and the sisters. Brother George, enough blessings, brother. Lots of respect to you for all of your support and your blessings, Brother Kibe, Brother Bill, Tawat, enough respect. There are people who still see clarity, still see truth, and still see information for what it is. Just like how we can observe and learn from our observations, and the correlations of all our observation add to a greater view of our collective reality. That's what it's all about. So when we're talking about the flat earth, and we're talking about these purviews, again we said there are political definitions of things, but that we're going to be straight from the grace of Christ. And that's what we're there. And we are not trying to prove something that you have in some kind of philosophical mindset, that you're trying to say, and my theory, but if it is the truth. Yeah, so, as we look through this wonderful but yet dimensional topic of the actual shape of the earth, we started by, in reference to the flat earth theory, but we're not flat earth theorists, or the flat earthers are flat earth society. We are just followers of Christ who have come to know that's what the word has said, and the evidence squarely supports it. So, because it squarely supports it, and we can get the level of what we are seeing in this reality, we give thanks. We give thanks as our level up is being clear. That's all our level up is, just being clear. So we give thanks for all who have sojourned through the information with us, who we know at some degree already is privy to some of the stuff that we're saying. I think arrangement is always a thing, because when you meet certain people, their arrangement of the information might be slightly different. And that's why we go for correlation. So your information, offering or how it is presented in your consciousness might be a little different. But I hope you added something to that. For the true followers of Christ, remember, knowing your reality helps you to know the presence and to have a more wholesome experience. Because many people are living like robotic instruments, and that is didactic projections put into our minds, right? And sometimes even some little pedantry programmed into us, you know, without clarity, without meaning, using words without actual meaning, living life without actual benefit. Crazy. Go towards the benefits in life. Go towards the actuality of life, the truth of life. See your environment, know your environment to know yourself. You know, this has been Jerome Sage Butler and Brother Ramon Singh, reasoning right here at the Tree of Life. Just bringing some clarity or some other kind of information to bear on old issues. So until next time, one love and blessings.
Blessings.
Perfect love, family.
Perfect love.
I'm a rebel. Yeah, brother. Beautiful day, man.